oh, way, oh. Just do that for like until we just start getting into it.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think I'm good with this, but hey.
Is that how we should do it? Okay, whenever you're ready. Hey! Oh, whoa! Did we just? That was unplanned.
Oh my god!
How do we always get like the same cadence and things when we do like these little bits?
Honestly.
Anyways, welcome back. Well, not welcome. Welcome everybody to the first episode of our Sopranos rewatch podcast,
Sleeping with the Fishes,
aptly titled "Sleeping with the Fishes," which has a mention in this first episode, but we'll get there.
It does.
It does. We'll get there.
All right, we'll get there.
We recently finished watching The Sopranos for my first time, and we just can't get enough of that world, you know? It's something
Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah, it's something that we can't like get out. We've just become these characters in our spare time, and
we are Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah, and we spend our days go, hey, oh. There's just so much that we've picked up from the show that we decided to start it over again. And why not?
We are the official Sopranos rewatch pod. We are the official Sopranos rewatch pod, because there's already like a million, and there's like an official one from like Michael and Barry. But we are the official ones, or the unofficial.
There you go.
Should we say that?
We're the unofficial Sopranos rewatch podcast.
And we want you to follow along.
Yeah, so every week we're going to recap an episode, kind of hang out and talk, and just dive in and kind of stretch it out a little bit instead of binging it all at once.
True.
If you like this format, just kind of hang out with us and recap The Sopranos with us right from episode 1.
And you know what? I think I just kind of fixed the mic. I figured it out. I figured out what was wrong with the mic the whole time. A round of applause. We have fixed the fucking mic stand, and it's gonna be working now for our Nefarious Things pod. And thank you for tuning in if you're from there.
Yes. If you heard anything from all our other socials or whatever, thank you for coming here.
Yeah, I am gonna upload our pod that we recorded for Nefarious Things, announcing this one.
I mean, it'll be all on the same channel, but
yeah,
realistically, like if you came from the other pod, thank you.
And if anyone else wants to sign their pod under us, and we can just put it out and we'll share the wealth. No, just kidding. You know, well, we could start a podcast network. You know,
I mean, if you're interested, network with us. So, anyways, we're gonna start from episode 1 here, which. We have titles for the episodes that are not the actual title names.
Right. Well, this one was called Pilot, right? Just Pilot.
The Pilot, but we decided to title it The D Word.
The D Word.
That is something that is mentioned in this episode.
Ducks.
Yeah, literally ducks. So, should we begin?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've already begun.
I meant with the recap.
We've begun.
Idiot. Okay, so I guess episode 1 opens up with Tony meeting Dr. Malfi for the first time in her office, and they're talking about his panic attacks, but he's incredibly dismissive, which... Yeah,
like a lot of people that grew up in that like time from like his generation are like, you know, they don't really get it, I guess.
They don't believe in therapy, you know.
Yeah.
They don't believe in mental health.
Exactly. And that's like a big theme throughout the entire show, obviously.
Yeah, but
also, I'm sorry about the creaking chairs.
I didn't notice it in the last vlog, I think, or the last pod. I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
But during the beginning of this episode, Tony starts to recap the day of his first incident, or his incidents with passing out and having these panic attacks.
Wasn't it like at the Ducks? Like, weren't the Ducks involved?
Yes, but it's because he's having like so much existential dread, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's he mentions the Ducks. It starts off with the Ducks, and right away he mentions these ducks coming from Canada.
Yeah, true. The Canadian geese.
Yeah, which is hilarious because like they're all over the place, and they are like they can be aggressive.
Yeah, true.
Especially
they really
if you have food.
In New Jersey, like in that area, they are like they're pretty prominent there too.
Yeah, I forget the post we saw the other day, but the guy called him a really funny name.
Right.
There's so many names for these little geese, and they're scary creatures. But anyways, we are introduced to Meadow, Carmela, and AJ, as well as Meadow's friend Hunter, who is a running character throughout the pretty much whole show.
And they were so young during.
Oh my god, they were so
completely different.
Yeah, and Tony was so thin in the pilot.
My god, yeah.
Oh my gosh, just like he just seemed like when you see him at the end, he feels like it's not only like it feels like he's put on weight because he's just so tired with everything at the end. You know, like so much has happened. It's like the mental health weight it has like carried on him.
Yeah, true. You're right. And I mean, it seems like that's like it is like a huge part of the show. Yeah. You kind of see like his journey through all of that and through therapy, really.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we have this show. Like, it's so good that we were able to like openly have these discussions now in this year, and I feel like that was a really big gateway to like men's mental health. Yeah, true. Anyways, in this beginning scene, we are where Hunter, I have to say this, she says, last year at a ski resort, we saw Skeet Ulrich.
Oh my god. Yeah, the sign of the times.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah. He's in Scream, right?
Yeah, that's
what is he? Oh, Billy Loomis.
Billy Loomis.
Right. Our guy.
We are also introduced to Michael Imperioli, Christopher Moltisanti.
Give it up.
He's our favorite character, I think, besides Polly and Silvio.
We also have a podcast. If you guys didn't know, if you are new here to the Nefarious Things / Sopranos world, we have a cat. We have cats.
But specifically this specific podcat.
Yeah.
Who thinks he can come in, have the door closed, and just leave with the door closed, but wants to scream at us. We're not opening it. Yeah. You're stuck with us.
Yeah. So if you guys hear that, just, he's just, he's joining in. He's like, hey.
I believe this is the scene where Michael Imperioli and the other guy that he's working with are talking about stealing the DVD players.
Oh my god, DVD. Wait, was that this episode?
Yeah, the beginning. They steal
episode
the DVD.
1?
Yeah, when they go approach him at the Bada Bing.
Right. First of all, the Bada Bing. Let's talk about that. The Bada Bing.
Bada Bing.
And the girls there. Okay, this is like, why is it like every show like this? And not just show, but like even movies too, where they're like at a strip club and it's just like there's like 8 girls just like dancing to an empty room with one guy in there who's not paying attention.
There's so many times in my notes where it's like something serious happened and then like right away it's like, oh, LOL tits.
Yeah. And the DVDs is like a sign of the time because they were like, oh, we're getting like picture perfect quality here. Yeah,
we're gonna steal a truck of DVD players, Tony. Are you in? Oh my god. So Dr. Malfi tells Tony that if he says something questionable, she will have to report him to the police. He mentions he's in waste management, and as he tries to dodge saying anything else incriminating, a flashback shows him and Christopher shaking down, quote unquote, the halfie, as they called him.
Right. That was the name for him?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they show him like in broad daylight running this man down.
Yeah, in front of other people at like an office. And I just read that he gets joy out of hurting and chases down a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the names for these people? The Haffy?
Yeah, the Haffy.
But he was white.
Yeah. Are we allowed to say that?
I don't know, but what does it mean? But like knowing them, like it would have been like a racial slur, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyways,
That's okay.
We are then introduced finally to our gang at Satrielli's. That's the name, right?
Well, it is the name, but in this episode, it's not the name.
Oh,
because
God.
they filmed it on a location of a real place that actually exists.
Yikes! I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that was like one of the fun facts, I guess. But it's called Centani. I wrote that down. It's called Centani's, and he was a real butcher in New Jersey.
So did they change the name to like kind of resemble that name so that it would like play?
Yeah, I think so, and I think they just like moved the location to like they just like built a place, or like they rented out like another shop somewhere or something like that. Oh. And then they just like put this like fake sign up that they made.
I don't know why I wrote Vesuvio. We're not there yet, right?
Vesuvio.
But anyways, my next note is just fucking Olivia with a bunch of eye rolling faces.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that.
Clearly how I feel about that miserable bitch. But I believe that is one of the first scenes where she's literally gaslighting Tony, the first of many.
Yeah. Like the worst.
But then they have AJ's birthday party where he says, "So what? No fucking ZD now?"
Yeah. Oh my god. Me though.
It's so good.
I mean, literally me.
And then I just have my next note after that says LMAO father, because the freaking priest that like inserts himself into their family.
Yeah, he's just like
He's just always all the pasta.
He's just always hanging out with Carmela, and they like almost like hook up in one episode.
Oh, I know, it was like a constant will they or won't they?
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
it's so good. We see Tony's panic attack where he says it felt like ginger ale in his skull, and then he collapses and the barbecue explodes.
Yeah, true. And there's a lot of mention to the ducks and everything, like we said earlier, and that's like supposed to be like resembling his family and how he feels towards his family, but he's like unable to like show that, I guess, so he's like showing it towards like the ducks, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
well,
when
like, you think about it with his line of work, like there's that factor.
Yeah,
but then there is the Meadows almost college age. AJ is getting older. He's she goes to college within the next couple seasons.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, they're gonna fly away, they're gonna go away.
Yeah.
And as my next thing here says, Carmela knows about the girlfriend, so it's like she could leave at any time.
Yeah, and she doesn't.
Oh my god, what a saint.
Right.
God bless.
Right. Yeah, this whole show is just crazy. It's like a whole big thing about depression and death. I know ducks. Depression, exactly. Death, and ducks.
Moving on, Christopher gets his first kill.
Oh my god. First kill. Yeah.
First literally. Blood.
Literally though.
And then we have Carmela and the father. We're hanging out and she hears a rattle at the door and she pulls out a machine gun, but it's just Meadow who had just snuck out.
Yeah. And the priest was there, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my god.
Yeah, tell me you're a mob family without telling me you're a mob family. And then in the next scene, right after that, is when Puss says he sleeps with the fishes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
And that's where we got the name.
That's where we got the name for our podcast.
A round of applause.
Tony has another panic attack when Olivia freaks out about not being in a home and not wanting to go to a home, which, I mean, another duck thing. His mom is gonna die eventually, and she's gonna go into a home. She's losing her memory actively.
Yeah, dementia, death, and ducks.
And yeah, the D word. Then we have the bada bing again. So.
Yeah, he's always at the bada bing, but he owns it, so.
Meadow and Carm's tea date. That's the next scene there, which she kind of doesn't want to go on. And I mean, that is brought up more times throughout the show, so it's an important plot point for episode 1. And I guess like Carmela and Meadows' growth together as daughter and mother.
This isn't a part of this episode, but I just remember when I was listening to the Talking Sopranos pod, and Michael and Imperioli, they were talking about it was like another episode, but they were talking about the Bada Bing, and they were like, he's like, yeah, and like this next scene that they talked about, he's like, they were literally like giving out turkeys to the employees of the Bada Bing in the back of the Bada Bing parking lot, and he's just like, it's real grim, it's real bleak.
Oh my god, that is fucking bleak. Speaking of bleak, the one
like the Bada Bing,
the one plot point that I forgot to even mention is that Junior wants to blow up Vesuvio.
Right,
and
that's where Vesuvio
came from. Yeah. And poor Artie is just collateral damage.
Right.
So anyways, later Tony approaches Dr. Melfi at a restaurant. She's on a date, and she acts like she doesn't know him, and he thanks her for the Prozac, and the guy that she's with is like, do you know him?
Yeah. And he's like, do you know that that's Tony Soprano? And she's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like doctor-patient confidentiality. Like, I can't act like I know you in public, but like I know you could probably kill me.
Yeah, literally.
Tony tells Carmela at dinner that he is seeing a therapist. She's literally so ecstatic. And then he says he's on Prozac, and then he says the phrase Hannibal lecture.
Oh, that right. Yeah, he's like, what do you think? I'm like Hannibal Lecter or something?
Amazing. As a horror fan, that was a funny one.
She's like, oh no, I love you.
Yeah, she's like, I think that's fantastic. I think that's fantastic tone.
Oh my gosh.
And then Silvio blows up Vesuvio.
Right.
He just walks out. Silvio blows up Vesuvio.
Oh my gosh.
He just walks away. But
yeah. No.
Oh, and next we just have at therapy, Tony realizes that the ducks represent him.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Comes full circle.
It's like him and like the family and everything. Like it all kind of like comes full circle. You kind of like understand like where his head is at, like when he's actually like looking out at the ducks and like whatever.
And then the episode wraps up with the barbecue at the end, where Artie is mourning Vesuvio, and Tony, I have in my notes, Tony gets too deep. Right.
Too deep. But that's the D word.
That's the D word.
You know, Silvio and Paulie both weren't characters when they were casting, and they both ended up like going to the casting for like another character, and then it got turned down for that, and then David Chase liked them so much that he made whole characters for them. Like Silvio, he just like made it for what's his face, and it just made it up for Tony Sirico, like Paulie.
Yeah, well, I think that they round everybody out so well.
And they provide like the comic relief, like when it's like really like a tough scene or something, and then it's like it kind of like cuts it, you know.
I have to give a shout out to Toe Ranch Tori on Instagram, because the message she sent me the other day was that she named all of her plants after the Sopranos character, and her poly plant wasn't doing so well for a minute, and she took it personally. Also, that she, if she could rename one of her cats, she would name it Furio.
Right. But yeah,
that was the first episode of The Sopranos here.
Yeah. I was watching like an interview with David Chase, and he was like, I'm not even sure if anyone's even gonna like this, because it's like people, and they're just like talking, or they're just eating, or they're just like hanging out, and it's
eggs.
Like, yeah, and it's like that type of show. And he was like, I'm not sure if anyone's gonna get this. I don't know if anyone's gonna like this, and then just kind of like stuck and took off.
Yeah,
and like everyone loved it.
After like maybe 6 episodes, it became like a staple. Every day we were watching like 9 episodes.
You're right.
We were finishing full seasons in like 36 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then it feels like you're part of their life and their family when you're watching it, and it feels like you're so wrapped up in all of it.
Honestly, it feels like some of the people that were on the show still aren't really like, they still just like are in character on like TikTok or whatever.
It's the Kevin Dillon effect.
Yeah.
He is still Johnny Drama.
Like Big Puss, the guy who plays him, he's like always going around him. You always see him like popping up on TikTok.
I know, Vinny's still Vinny, you know?
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Oh, well, that was really fun to look back on. I'm so excited. We're on episode 3 right now watching, so I cannot wait to watch more.
Lorraine Bracco is not the same as she is on the show in real life.
Yeah, that's
She's
surprising.
Like a lot different. She's like a lot more like loud and talkative.
She doesn't seem like she would be.
Yeah, like on the show she plays but she wanted to do that because David Chase really wanted her to play Carmela, but she had already played a mob wife in Goodfellas, and she won an Oscar for that, but she didn't want to be typecast, and she wanted to show that she could actually act as something else. And he had already like picked her out. Like he was like, you're on the show, like it's fine. And then she just like decided she was doing this all. She was like, I'm playing Melfi, that's what I'm doing. And then he's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. You got it. But I couldn't picture her playing Carmela at all.
Yeah, I mean literally. And she said that she wanted to have David Chase have be like a love interest for her character, or like her like husband or something.
What? No.
Yeah, that's what she always said, but never happened.
Well,
because he was like, no, I'm not doing that.
I can't see anybody other than Edie Falco as Carmela.
Yeah,
she
true.
Is Carmela. Even when we watched Bupkis, she was still Carmela.
Yeah, it seems like they all kind of like really took on their roles and like really like they made themselves like the characters, and that's like what made the show so good. Yeah,
when we were listening to Red Bar,
right,
and he was like recapping the Pajama Pants podcast.
Oh my god!
And I was like, "That's AJ."
Yeah,
I know his voice now. Like they've just become like I didn't even have to like see it to know it.
The Joey Coco Diaz, which we
Uncle
hate.
Joey.
By the way, we hate Joey Coco Diaz, and you're gonna find that out when we get to Many Saints of Nowhere.
Yeah, spoiler alert! When he gets his head blown off, it was a.
Yeah, we cheered, and we hate that guy.
Yeah, he is grab her by the puss kind of guy.
Yeah.
And we don't like that. We don't like that at all. That guy doesn't know what consent means.
Exactly, yeah.
And I feel like that's where we'll leave this podcast today.
The D word.
The D word.
What's our episode 2 going to be called again? Oh, wait.
Episode 2.
Scathed?
It's called Scathed.
Yeah, no, it's Scathed?
Scathed. We'll get there, guys. Okay, we'll talk to you in the next Sopranos podcast. Hey!